Hey everybody, it's Video Show the Game.
No, that was our old show.
Oh, that's right. This is Super... What do we call it?
Super Breakfast
Super
Friends
Breakfast Friends Club. I'll get more used to that as we do more of these.
I do not believe that for a second.
I'm Mike, and you might...
I'm not.
If you're here, you maybe probably know me from other things that I do. Unless this takes off, in which case, maybe you'll know me from here first. That'll be weird.
Maybe you'll know him from your nightmares. That's where I met him.
In my nightmares?
Yep.
That sounds
when
right.
I came to visit.
And this is Mel, who you may also know from my internet adventures.
From your dubious past.
Do you want to introduce yourself, Mel?
No. That's
exactly what I expected you to say.
I don't have an internet presence to speak of, so I'm here.
Yeah, you're just here as an extension of my internet presence.
Essentially, we have to merge together like Power Rangers and fight as one united robot.
So directionless already, even though we have a very specific direction.
We're just avoiding it. I see where we're supposed to go, but I'm not quite ready.
In this show, we're going to be talking about cartoons made about video games. Wow, could I have worded that better?
Not really. We understand. It's fine. It's fine. Keep rolling.
All right.
It's cartoons about video games.
Yeah, cartoons about video games, of which there are many.
Numerous.
So here's the first one.
Pac-Man. That's me. Pac-Man.
Oh! I must have those power pellets! Go find me the power pellet bonus!
Now, is this the first one, like, ever? Is this the first time they ever deigned to try and capitalize on video games?
It is.
Cartoonily?
It is, and that's why we're covering this one first.
Numerical, I get it.
Well, we're not going to be numerical after this, because I'm going to need a break from the 80s.
Yeah, it was kind of hard to get through.
Alright, so this is Pac-Man. The theme song, which if you're listening to this, you will have just heard. I guess at the time there was no theme song of Pac-Man, right? I guess there kind of still isn't.
It's just the song that loops throughout the game infinitely, right?
It's just kind of like, woo, 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 I think.
I thought that there was a Pac-Man song, because I'm familiar with the song. They played it constantly throughout the cartoon. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the Pac-Man song.
Really?
That I know so well. Yeah.
I think it's from that show.
Really? It came there, or it was there first, and then they put it in the...
Yeah, well, we'll get into that, but yes, that song from the show has been in a game.
Interesting. I wish it was that exact version, because the unenthused vocals of that man just being like, oh, Pac-Man.
Pac-Man.
I was really living for that.
And then he was like,
That's me.
Like, the level of enthusiasm is unmatched.
you know, although that's probably how I'd react. Like, Pac-Man reacts realistically. If I was walking down the road and somebody was just like, Mike Maynard, I'd be like, that's me. What?
I would absolutely not. I would check over my shoulder. I would run very far away.
Okay.
But if you're just trying to say hi to me and that's how you say it, I don't want anything to do with you. I'm sorry. Don't come at me like a predator.
So I think everybody probably knows what Pac-Man is, right? If you don't,
Yeah.
if you don't know what Pac-Man is, I don't know why you're listening to this show.
Please just leave now. Go back to the 80s and come back with some school learning.
But if there's anybody out there who doesn't, Pac-Man is a game that came out on May 22nd, 1980. I did my research for this.
Wow, look how prepared.
Yeah, it was in the arcade. It was by Namco. It was designed by Toru Iwatani, and he was only 25 when he made it. That's all the research I did about the Pac-Man game.
Wow, that's very professional of you.
Thank
And that was
you.
what, a 5-minute Google search?
I didn't time it.
Next time.
So the show, I guess the game was a huge hit. I understand why they immediately were like, let's make a cartoon.
Yeah, how quickly after the game did this happen?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, which is, I guess, pretty fun. I mean, considering at the time, video games... This was 1982 this show came out, which really surprised me. That's really quick.
Looks like a 70s cartoon.
I was gonna... You know what? Doesn't it? It feels like it's from, like, the 50s.
It
Everything
looks like
about it.
feels like it is a very dated cartoon,
It
even
sure
for
is.
just having come out.
I had a really hard... I was watching it. The whole time I was watching it, I'm like, this was made in the 80s? Like, nothing about it
I had
feels like
no
the
idea.
80s.
The whole time I'm thinking that this is like running alongside the Flintstones and the Jetsons.
Yeah, exactly. It's that feel. Everything about it feels like that. But I did some research. So it's by Hanna-Barbera. So yeah, Flintstones and Jetsons.
You can tell by the fact that they just use Jetsons noises throughout the show.
Yeah, it's the Hanna-Barbera sound library. It aired on ABC. It first aired on the 25th of September 1982 at 9:30 a.m. It ran for 2 seasons.
2 seasons?
Can you believe it?
I cannot. They were out of ideas by episode 1. Like, how many episodes is that?
I didn't actually. That's not part of my research. Let me have a quick Google. 44 episodes.
There's no way. There's
Well,
no way.
42 episodes and 2 specials. It says here.
Specials as in like movies?
I don't know. There's a Halloween special and a Christmas special.
Okay, I am interested in that Halloween special.
Oh, don't worry. I saved that for us to look at another time.
Oh, good.
we are gonna revisit these shows if there's interesting reasons to revisit them.
If we're feeling particularly masochistic and we're a little bit bored.
Exactly. But I wanna give you some context for like what was going on TV at the time. So I looked into what this show replaced.
Mm-hmm.
And it replaced... Now, I told you about this show already, but I didn't know it was actually the show that Pac-Man was replacing. It's Laverne and Shirley in the Army.
I had forgotten, and I don't know how. You hear that? And that's something that should stick with you forever.
You'd think. Laverne and Shirley in the Army was aired as part of the Fonz/Laverne and Shirley Hour.
There really was not a lot going on as far as cartoons at the time.
And I'm gonna send you the opening to Laverne and Shirley in the Army, and I'll also play it on the show so everybody gets to hear.
Oh, I'm quite excited.
Laverne, let's join the army. Do what, Cheryl? Where do I sign up? I'm with you. A commanding pig?
Why is there a pig?
You shouldn't have done that, Laverne.
Why is there a pig?
Whoa! Help! Join the army, you said?
Why is there a giant ape? Why are they in space? What in the world did I just watch with my eyeballs?
You reacted exactly as I expected you to.
You've trained me well.
Now, what's interesting is Pac-Man replaced Laverne and Shirley in the time slot, but Laverne and Shirley was not cancelled. it was moved to a new time slot, and it was renamed Laverne and Shirley with the Fonz. And the Fonz was added to the cast of
So
Laverne
they're
and
all in
Shirley
the
in
army.
They're all in the army. The Fonz and his talking... Well, actually, I don't know if he was a talking dog. Look, the Fonz and his dog named Mr. Cool
Mr. Cool.
were added to Laverne and Shirley in the army.
I'm not gonna lie, that is an incredible dog name, and I would like to name one of my dogs Mr. Cool.
And that aired as part of the Mork and Mindy Laverne and Shirley Fonz Hour.
They
Because
really did not know what to do with their children back then.
Happy Days already is known as a show that had a lot of spin-offs, right? Like
Mhm.
Mork and Mindy, or so many spin-offs of Happy Days. I didn't know there were also animated spin-offs of those spin-offs. I didn't know there was a Mork and Mindy animated series. I took a look at that too. It did not have Robin Williams in it.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. They couldn't afford him. He was already off doing his own thing by then.
Yeah. Hello, this is Mike from the future, which from my perspective is the present, and from your perspective is still the past. Recording a little extra something to say that it turns out that actually was Robin Williams. I really thought it didn't sound like him, but yeah, that's who it was. I also looked up Mr. Cool, and I don't think I've ever seen a less cool dog than Mr. Cool, but maybe that's the joke. I don't know. Anyway, back to the episode. Pac-Man was aired as the final segment of the Pac-Man Little Rascals Richie Rich show.
Yes, of course. Those three naturally go together.
Here's something else that might... well, actually, it might not surprise you now that we've looked at some of the caliber of what else was at the time. But Pac-Man was the highest rated animated show of 1982.
Listen, I understand that there wasn't a whole lot going on, but there's not a whole lot going on in Pac-Man either. I don't... I'm sorry, I don't see it. I'm checking my notes and I don't see it.
I mean, there was a lot going on, but...
There was entirely too much going on, one might argue.
So, I feel like probably pretty much everybody's heard of Hanna-Barbera. I got a list here of some other things that they had going on around the same time, but I feel like people know most of these. There's a couple I want to bring up, though. But, you know, Smurfs, they had Flintstones Funnies, which was a variety show I've never heard of.
No, me neither.
They had Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo, which was the Scooby-Doo show that only had Scooby, Shaggy, and Scrappy and nobody else.
Yeah, they got rid of some of the good characters and gave you the worst character to ever grace
Yeah.
the Scooby-Doo franchise.
Yeah, you don't want to trade a Fred, a Daphne, and a Velma for a Scrappy. That's a bad deal.
Absolutely not. Not even just a Fred.
No. Don't kids out there, if you're trading your Scooby-Doo cast, don't make that trade. Someone's trying to rip you off.
Never accept a Scrappy.
Yeah. Space Stars, which I've never heard of, but apparently it had a Space Ghost segment in it. I know what Space Ghost is.
I'm quite familiar with Space Ghost. He went coast to coast.
He sure did, but this was serious Space Ghost before they made him fun.
Before they fixed him.
They made Space Ghost comics recently, and I was really excited until I found out it was the serious original Space Ghost.
Oh, boo.
Yeah, and I was like, who wants that? They were making Richie Rich. They were making Super Friends. Oh, yes! I looked into that, because Super Friends came up, and I was like, isn't this just Justice League? Why is it called Super Friends? It turns out that the name Justice League was considered too patriotic post-Vietnam. And I'm like, whoa, what a different America.
First of all, that doesn't make a damn bit of sense because I just watched the intro to Laverne and Shirley in the army. What is more patriotic than that?
I didn't even think about it.
They stood in front of a giant American flag and saluted. I'm sorry. What about that doesn't stink of America?
Yeah, they had a pig. That's America. That's America in a nutshell.
The national animal of America, the pig.
So here's what I've been building to in this little segment. They had Hanna-Barbera were working on a show at the time called The Gary Coleman Show.
Okay.
The Gary Coleman Show starred Gary Coleman, but not as Gary Coleman. But the show was still called The Gary Coleman Show.
So Gary Coleman, the actor, is in this show,
Yes.
but it is not about Gary Coleman, the character, the actor.
Yes, but it's called The Gary Coleman Show.
I guess they're technically not wrong.
He plays a character called Andy LeBeau.
Okay.
A dead kid trying to become an angel.
Okay.
It's based on a Gary Coleman movie called The Kid with the Broken Halo, apparently.
I'm not familiar.
No, me neither. Anyway, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that Hanna-Barbera were doing at the time. I would say, of all of that I mentioned, only the Smurfs and the Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo show are things I've actually seen.
Yeah, same. And I never was really a fan of the Smurfs because it, even as a child, could not hold my interest.
That's fair. I was into the Smurfs, but not because of the show. I like the Smurfs comics, but you probably didn't get them over there.
No.
Because it's
wasn't really
Belgian, I think. Smurfs is a Belgian thing. In
Oh yeah, like
Hanna-Barbera.
Le Schtroumpf or something.
Yeah, Le Schtroumpf, I think it's called.
I remember learning about that in French class.
Oh, neat. I looked into what the most recent Pac-Man games were at the time. I thought that might be interesting. We can see what inspiration they were taking.
Is it just Pac-Man?
No, Ms. Pac-Man had just come out.
So Miss Pac-Man is out.
Yes.
But in the show, they use some bitch named Pepper?
No, they call her Miss Pac-Man once.
Okay.
When she first appears, they're like,
It's Miss Pac-Man!
but then everywhere else in the show, she's Pepper.
Yeah, I had already forgotten that they called her that because every other time you see her, she's called Pepper. And like, his boat is called Pepper.
Oh, yeah. All right, no, we'll get to that. But yeah, they had just released. Well, Miss Pac-Man had come out earlier that same year, so far enough away that they could use stuff from it. So we've got Miss Pac-Man herself and Sue. That's right. I was surprised to see Sue in the show, but I guess because Miss Pac-Man was recent.
I had completely forgotten that Sue wasn't like OG. So this sexy ghost comes up. I'm like, what in the world am I looking at?
And they'd also just recently released Pac-Man Plus, which was a harder version of the original game.
Okay.
And Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man, which was a pinball table about them getting married, I guess. It's literally
about
like
their trip to Vegas.
Yeah, it's literally wedding art all over the pinball table.
That's a little weird.
It's a little bit weird. And I guess they got divorced afterwards because she's not Mrs. Pac-Man anywhere else.
Take care of yourself, girl.
I think Miss Pac-Man is retired as a character.
The machine or the woman?
The woman. No, I was looking into this. They haven't used her since like 2007, apparently.
Huh.
It's weird.
She's just collecting those royalties and living her best life.
Yeah. They stopped using her, and it seems to have coincided with some kind of lawsuit about the original Miss Pac-Man machine. So I wonder if they don't own Miss Pac-Man.
I seem to recall something that I had watched on a Netflix show, but I also don't remember it well enough to really elaborate on it, so maybe I shouldn't have brought it up.
Oh, well, that was very interesting. I'm leaving that in.
Yes, I am very smart. Thank you very much.
So, right. Let's talk about Pac-Man.
Let's talk Pac.
The theme song starts, and I thought something was wrong with my sound. I don't know if you had this issue too, but
Where it was like a whining noise?
Yes! For like a decent chunk of the theme song, there's just this whining noise in the background.
Like I did notice it, but my attention was immediately grabbed by that unenthused narrator.
Well, yeah, because the whining started, and I thought, "Oh no, we've got a bad copy of the video." But then it just stops a little way into the song. So I thought, "Oh, okay, maybe it was just at the beginning." But then when that part of the song comes back, it starts again. At which point, I realized it was deliberate.
It did kind of sound like they were trying to imitate just a whining video game noise, but
That's-
it's not a good sound design choice.
Well, that's what I thought was so funny about it, because I think they did a pretty good job of kind of imitating the sound of early video games.
Hmm.
But it feels like the theme song was written by somebody who was trying to imitate what old games sound like, and also hated the way old games sounded. It was like, oh, they want it to sound like this shit? Fine! That's the impression I got.
The impression I got is more like they accidentally put it in there and then didn't know how to remove it. So when the part looped, they just left it in.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that too. Oh yeah, so Mezmaron. Let's talk about Mezmaron.
Please talk about Mezmaron, because I am fascinated. I am in love. I don't understand, and I love it.
Who is Mezmaron? That's all I have here on my notes. Who TF is Mezmaron?
Who is Mezmaron? What is Mezmaron? Because as we'll see later in the episode, he's like 3 stories tall.
Yeah. And he's like, there's some backstory there that we don't get in this episode, because
We don't get it in this show because it starts like it's been going on for 7 years and you're supposed to know what you're watching.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's like 3 stories tall. He's some kind of Darth Vader-esque thing, I think.
He's definitely part egg. He might be distantly related to Eggman.
Oh yeah, he's part machine, I think. Because he's got like a face, he's got like a grate on his face. He's got like a vent for a mouth.
I honestly don't even remember that. I was so overstimulated by that show.
According to the wiki, it's not mentioned in this episode at all. I assume it's mentioned in another episode, but according to the Pac-Man wiki, Mezmaron is the uncle of the ghosts. Or the ghost, sorry, the ghost monsters. They're not ghosts in this, they're ghost monsters.
Why is he 3 stories tall?
I know, and
Why
why
are Why is he not a ghost? What is a ghost monster? Because they get eaten and then their eyeballs just go away.
Yeah, so, well, anyway, the first episode of the show is called Presidential Pack-Nappers. And I'm almost surprised that they don't just use Pack the way the Smurfs used Smurf, you know?
They do in the second episode for sure, because I have plentiful notes about the things that they slapped Pack in front of.
Yeah, but they only ever use it as a prefix. They don't replace words with it.
I see what you're saying.
So
yeah.
because they were making Smurfs at the same time, there's a part of me that expected them to just be like, well, I'm going to pack down to the store and pack myself
Pack on down to the pack and pack a pack.
Exactly.
Just complete nonsense like the Smurfs.
What are you packing about?
Pack you.
Go pack yourself. So we get the show opens as it probably needs to, with a big sweeping shot of Pac-Land.
Of this like weird pseudo-futuristic Pac-Land.
Yeah, I kind of like it in a weird way. Everything's shiny. All the buildings are shiny.
Very shiny.
Like they're made of polished plastic.
Like they're made of chrome.
Yeah, and they're all really brightly colored. And as I have in my notes here, I was impressed that only one of them was phallic.
Only one, but they did use it a couple times.
Yes, and it was unfortunately pink.
Yes, it was. It was a penis.
It was a penis. They take a good amount of time to show us the vehicles that Pac people drive. There's like helicopters, planes, cars going around. I don't know why. There are, to my knowledge, no vehicles in the games, at least up to this
No.
point.
I don't think that there are, and they're very minimalistic cars. It's just like an orb that they stuck wheels on and roll around down the road.
Everything circles except the buildings, which I thought was strange.
It is a little strange. Even the sun is Pac-shaped, and I'm wondering what the greater implications
Was the
of that
sun
are.
Pac-shaped? I didn't
The
notice
sun
that.
is Pac-shaped because
Oh.
the second episode opens and it's got a nice shot of the sun, and it is a Pac-Man.
Okay, all right. Well, there's the thing I didn't notice. I think I was in the second episode. I was just because the second episode also opens by showing us cars driving around, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, because they are in the car going to the park.
That's right. But we'll get to the second episode when we get to the second episode. So this sweeping shot, I wanna see what your thoughts on this were, because I was baffled. But this sweeping shot of Pac-Land, where we see all these Pac people going about their business, ends with a zoom in and a focus on a Pac hobo, I think.
That was so weird.
What was that? What were they trying to say? Was that a joke?
I'm pretty sure that was a joke, because back then people were not so sensitive to the economic disparity of others, and they're like, you know what would be funny? A homeless guy. Hobos are always funny.
It's the only explanation.
Because there's no joke except that there's a homeless Pac.
Yeah,
that's the joke.
And then he's gone. You never see him again.
Never seen nor heard from again.
That's the end of him.
And then we're immediately in the middle of a ghost chase that is no rhyme or reason.
No. So we're introduced to the ghost monsters. Do they show up before Pac-Man does? I can't remember.
I think it's Pac-Man, and then all of a sudden they just show up out of nowhere and start chasing him. Like, he shows up and he like introduces himself or whatever, in case you don't know who Pac-Man is, and then immediately after, he's getting chased.
Yeah, that's right. But he's it to me, it's a really weird choice to make him this kind of like. So for anyone who hasn't seen the show, in this version of Pac-Man is kind of like a schlubby, almost
like every American dad.
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Every...
He's almost like a Honeymooners type character, like the husband from the Honeymooners almost.
I got big Fred Flintstone vibes.
Oh, that's why. That's why. It was just Hanna-Barbera doing what they know.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it that way, but no, that's what it is.
That's all I got, especially when Miss Pac-Man shows up. I'm like, it's just Fred and Wilma.
Yeah.
They're just Pac-shaped now.
You're right. Okay. Right. So I got some notes about the casting here. Pac-Man.
Okay.
Pac-Man is played by Marty Ingalls.
That means nothing to me.
Yes, it shouldn't. He is best known for playing Fenster in the 60s sitcom I'm Dickens, He's Fenster.
I'm Dickens, he's Fenster. Starring John Aston, Marty Ingalls, with Emmeline Henry. Created and produced by Leonard Stern.
Yes, the well-loved classic.
I'm glad, there was a part of me, I didn't really believe it was going to happen, but there was a part of me that was like, what if I say this name? And then Mel's like, oh yeah, I know that. Everyone knows that. But no,
That's one of the most famous American shows to ever come out of media. What are you talking about?
I literally...
You know I have that tattoo.
I was trying to find any character that he's played that I've heard of. But here's the best I got. He had small roles in Addams Family, Bewitched, The Dick Van Dyke Show, Darkwing Duck, ER, CSI, and Baywatch. But like cameo roles.
Okay. So, like, he wasn't even the hooker that got killed in CSI.
No.
He's just like the guy drinking coffee in the background.
Yeah, that's the kind of level that he's at, yeah.
All right. Get that paycheck.
And then we've got the ghosts. Now, there are so many ghosts.
Yes.
There are 5 ghosts in this show, which is 1 more ghost than any of the games have. I think
But they don't show us the final ghost right at first.
that's true.
She's a little secret that sneaks in completely randomly later in the episode, sets up one of the most mind-bogglingly stupid traps I've ever seen.
Yeah, so Sue shows up. It's during this chase, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The ghosts
They're
are all...
chasing each other for like 2 minutes and going absolutely nowhere. And then Sue shows up.
And she puts a big L-shaped pipe down on the ground. And Pac-Man sees it from a decent distance away.
She's literally counting down.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Pac-Man is running at it from like a mile away.
And he goes, "Oh no!" before he reaches it.
And the thing about that is that once he does fall into the trap, really all it serves to do is mess up the ghost.
Yeah, because it fires Pac-Man into the air. Here is my note about that. Fire Pac-Man into the air. Why?
I mean, same.
He comes down, I think he lands in some garbage cans.
He does. In the meantime, all of the ghosts have crashed into each other in the middle of the road.
Also for no reason, because they're clearly not running to where Pac-Man was, because the pipe isn't there.
Yeah, what was chasing him? What led him into this pipe?
And the 4 ghosts come from different directions, and they collide in the road, and they like merge into one for a little bit, which is a theme with these ghosts.
We'll get to it.
Right, let's talk about the ghosts a bit.
The ghost monsters.
The ghost
Thank
monsters. My bad. Usually, Blinky is the leader, the red one.
Uh-huh.
I feel like he's the leader of the ghost monsters in every version of Pac-Man, but for some reason, in this show, Clyde is the leader.
I thought Clyde was the red one in the show.
No, Clyde is the orange one.
Orange, okay, because sometimes the colors kind of didn't.
I mean, yeah. The color grading on this show is not perfect.
Not ideal.
But Clyde is the leader, which is funny because Clyde is clearly the joke character. Like,
yeah,
just from their names, Inky, Blinky, Pinky, and Clyde. It makes
but
it...
they're like, oh, this is a tough gangster name now.
Yeah, and that's what he is. Yeah, he's a tough gangster. He's like a 1930s gangster.
Now we can chomp both of yous.
Blinky, who's usually the leader, is like kind of an idiot who mixes up his words constantly. That's his gimmick.
Oh, yeah.
He keeps switching words in sentences.
He's awfully fair. He's quick.
Pinky is just like the deep voice one.
Yeah, he's like the drooling idiot, deep voice
Yeah.
lackey.
He like talks slow.
Yeah.
Me on TV? How did I look, Mezmaron?
I don't remember what they did with Inky.
I don't know. Did he even get any spoken lines?
Oh, wait. Inky's the one who... No, wait. That's Blinky. I don't even remember what they did with Inky. I feel like it wasn't noticeably different from what they did with Blinky.
Pretty much the only characters that stood out were Clyde and Sue, and then everybody else was just an interchangeable...
Yeah, basically. That's what they went with. So I looked into the actors. Clyde, Clyde is played by Neil Ross, who I mainly know as the voice of Colonel Volgin from Metal Gear Solid 3 and Wally from Monkey Island. But I know you won't know either of those.
No, I'm familiar with the franchises, but not the work.
Yep. But here's some that you'll know. He was an he was a background radio announcer in Mass Effect. I don't know where.
You don't know where on the Citadel I can go to hear his voice?
No, but he's in there somewhere. And also, he's the voice in Back to the Future 2 when Marty goes to the Biff Tannen Museum in alternate 1985. He's the narrator reading out Tannen's life story.
That's a good gig.
Yeah,
I'm happy about that.
So there you go. Inky is played by Barry Gordon, who apparently is the longest serving president of the Screen Actors Guild.
Oh, well, look at that.
He's also a political talk show host. I looked into it and it seems like his views are fine.
Okay.
And he was the original voices of Donatello and Bebop in Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
So
That's a pretty solid career.
yeah, he's doing okay for himself. Blinky and Pinky are both played by the same guy. That's Chuck McCann, who I knew as Duckworth and Burger and Bouncer Beagle from DuckTales. But also, he was the voice of all three members of the Amoeba Boys.
We did it! We're official criminals. Yeah, criminals. Yeah. Oh, come on, let's see it. Yeah, let's see it. See it? Yeah, the orange. Let's see the orange. Yeah, the orange. Oh, that. Yes, that. The orange, the fruit that you stole just now. Let's see it. What do you want to see that for? Produce the produce. You didn't take it, did you? I didn't take it, boss. I was going to, but that would be stealing.
Okay, I love the Amoeba Boys.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Some of the best Powerpuff villains. Couldn't tell you their names, but I love them.
I don't remember if they even had individual names.
I think they did, but I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I think probably the Powerpuff episode I remember the most is the one where the Amoeba Boys are trying really hard to get the attention of the Powerpuff Girls because they want to fight, but they just keep getting ignored.
I remember the one where they stood around in the rain so long they all got sick and created this like super virus.
Oh yeah, that might have been the same episode actually.
It might have been. Anyway, enough about the Powerpuff.
Enough about Powerpuff Girls. And then we've got Sue, who's played by Susan Silo. Literally the only credit I could find for her that I was familiar with is Mama Mousekewitz from American Tail.
Okay.
So yeah, there we go. That's the cast notes I had on the ghost monsters.
Nice work.
The ghosts want to eat Pac-Man.
That is the weirdest thing. It stood out to me because they come on screen and like the first thing they say is that they're gonna chomp his bones.
We're gonna chomp on his bones this time.
Why?
I have never got the impression that they were gonna eat him.
No. I guess when all you're working with is the original Pac-Man, it's like, well, what kind of motivation can we give these things?
And that's
All
the
we see in
thing.
this is eating.
That's the thing. And that's what stands out so much across this entire show to me is
Yes.
I'm like, okay, they've done all these weird things, but what did they have to work with? Almost nothing.
But that should be like your license to do whatever you want. Instead of just making it, well, the only thing we've seen in this game is eating, so we're gonna have Pac-Man eat a boulder.
I forgot that happens. So Ms. Pac-Man shows up and pulls him out of the garbage.
Everybody is immediately like, oh no, what are we gonna do now that she's literally just shown up?
Yeah. They're like, oh no, it's Miss Pac-Man, as though she's the real hero, but then she doesn't really do anything.
She moves 2 feet to the side, finds a convenient vending machine full of power pills.
Okay. Listen. Right, the whole thing is that the ghosts want power pellets, right?
But they're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Everywhere. So Mezmaron says he wants to control the power pellets.
Once I control all the power pellets, I'll be the master of Pac-Land.
I'm like, girl, what?
The ghosts are chasing Pac-Man all over the town, trying to get power pellets. And there's literally a vending machine. And Pepper, like, what is she? I don't think she even puts in a quarter. I think she just, like...
I think she does put in a quarter.
Oh, okay. And then it shoots out, like, hundreds of them.
And they fly in a nice line across the screen so Pac-Man can chomp them from left to right.
Yeah, why are the ghosts fighting him for these? Why don't they use the vending machine?
The whole power pill thing is so ambiguous and weird because they say that it's like their only energy source.
Yeah.
And they literally grow on trees. They eat them for every meal.
Yeah, it's wild. So Pac-Man and Pepper eat all the ghosts. And I've got a note here that they Lady and the Tramped Inky.
They sure did.
Yeah, they both come in at Inky from opposite directions, and they eat Inky, and they chomp him in a chomp that turns into a kiss.
I have a note here. I don't remember what ghost it was, but one ghost runs into a dead end that is literally marked dead end in a neon sign that's like the size and length of a building.
I didn't even notice. That's incredible.
It was a work of art, truly.
The ghost dies, then they go home.
Yep. They're just flown home as eyeballs because their clothes have been eaten by these 2 strangers.
So here's the thing. The way the ghosts seem to work in the universe of the show, it seems like they are just eyes, right?
Yeah, because they go home to Mezmaron and he's like, go put more ghost clothes on or whatever.
Yeah, ghost
and there's
suits.
a closet full of them.
Yeah, and then they just put them on. So it's like the ghosts are just invisible beings that all you can see is their eyes. And
Because there's one part where somebody's eyeballs kiss Mezmaron's shoes.
Oh, yeah! I forgot about that. So they they put on some new ghost suits. And that makes me wonder, like, why do they wear the ghost suits? Because it seems like...
You would be more effective as an invisible stalker.
Yeah, exactly. You could just follow Pac-Man to work.
And apparently he's not eating your eyeballs.
No. Your eyeballs survive. He's only eating your clothes.
But I guess you can't chomp if you're just eyes, but you can kiss shoes.
And I do have something to say about the whole Pac-Man eating clothes thing, but I'll wait till we get to it.
Okay.
So Mezmaron is here. He's nuts. He has a Pac-Land spy satellite.
Yes, he does.
Just looking at the whole...
He is spying on everyone.
But he can't find the power forest.
Not only does he have a spy satellite, but he is taller than every building and every tree in Pac-Land, and he cannot just like lean over and be like, sure, looks like some power pills over there. Maybe that's the secret forest.
Yeah, so he wants to control this power forest that he for some reason can't see on his full satellite coverage of Pac-Land. Pac-Man is the security chief. That's what they establish. The ghosts let us know that Pac-Man is the security chief of the Power Pellet Forest.
But Pac-Man's the Power Forest security chief.
Whatever that means.
Because nothing is established beforehand at this point. They're literally just dropping this on us like, we should know. And if you don't, then you're wrong.
So, I have a few things here that I wrote in all caps.
Oh, I have a lot of all caps in my note.
So my all caps notes at this point are blithering baboon, which is what Mezmaron calls one of the ghost monsters.
You blithering baboon!
I'm gonna start using that in my everyday life.
Then he tells them that he's gonna send them to the Yellow House to kidnap the Pac president.
The 5 of you are going to take over the Yellow House, home of the Pac president.
So I don't know what I was doing, but I somehow misinterpreted what he had said. So I thought that they were just having an honest to God election so that the ghosts were going to get elected as president, and that way they would be able to demand Pac-Man tell them where the power forest was.
That would be more
So I'm like,
interesting.
I was all excited, but at the same time very confused that they thought children would want to watch this cartoon about political intrigue.
This is how they open the show. With an election episode.
I was here for it. So, needless to say, when they show up at the Yellow House and they just kidnap the president, I was very disappointed.
Yeah. I do... I don't like them because they're not pulled off very well. But I laughed at the way every time it transitions to a new scene, Pac-Man shows up and eats the screen.
Uh-huh.
I don't think they really pulled it off well, but I see what they were going for. That was interesting.
I mean, he's eating everything else.
Yeah,
he
might
ate
as
his
well.
way into the Yellow House.
Did he? I don't remember that.
Instead
Oh
of
yeah,
opening
no, you're right.
the door-
I do have a note here. I do have a note here that says Pac-Man eats door. The ghosts show up and they're trying to figure out how to get in. I think they come in through the sewer, if I remember rightly.
Yes.
And they're trying to they're trying to figure out how to get in. And then Inky has a crowbar under his hat, and Clyde is mad about it.
Inky, you got the crowbar?
Oh, sure do, Clyde.
Give me that.
That was so weird. He's like, "Do you have the thing?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got it right here." He takes off his hat and he's mad about it.
Yeah, why is he mad about it? It's so
And
weird.
Sue was just there, like, disappointed. I'm like, well, Sue, nobody asked you.
I guess being angry is like Clyde's whole personality, so
I guess so.
the president looks hilarious. I think the president is my favorite character design in this show.
My favorite character, and we skipped over him because he has such a tiny minor role that I don't understand.
Is it Grump?
Pac-Man? It's just watching TV when he
Yeah.
finds out.
Yeah, it's Grump.
Is that his name? I
Yes.
have no idea.
They only say it once. I have a note here. This is another all caps note with like 5 question marks. It just says, "Who is Pac-Man's co-worker? Grump?"
Mine just says, "Who the fuck is this repairman?"
Why does he have a uniform but Pac-Man doesn't? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. But they're just watching the news together, and we're just supposed to accept that this is Grump.
Yeah, and it's like they put him in to establish him, but he doesn't show up again. Maybe he's in other episodes. I don't know. We only watched the first episode. But
Maybe he's the Barney Rubble.
yeah, but they definitely took some time to introduce this character and tell us his name even. Then he's just gone. Like he doesn't actually help He's Pac-Man's co-worker as security of the Power Pellet Forest, but he sure doesn't do anything to help.
I literally already forgot that was his job.
Yeah.
I thought that they were just like chilling out watching TV.
No, it's the fact that they actually call him security chief of the Power Pellet. It makes it so mundane. That's what I found really funny about it. Because in anything else, they might be like, he's the guardian of the Power Pellet Forest. And that sounds a bit more, mysterious and
Yeah.
like maybe there was some kind of prophecy that made him the guardian. Maybe he's the last. But, no, he's
This
just
is
the security chief. He just applied for the job, I guess. It doesn't even sound like it's a good job.
No. They've got all this downtime to watch the news.
So Pac-Man shows up and eats the door. I have the next section labeled as Stupid Chase.
I didn't really make note of the chase itself because I was so blown away by the interior decoration of the Yellow House, which
Yeah.
was mostly just a contemporary home with the occasional columns to let you know it's fancy.
Oh, no. I wasn't paying attention to that at all. What I was paying attention to was the fact that Pac-Man, apparently, at all times, carries an inflatable of himself.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yes. That, and he stops and he like talks to the camera to let you know how smart he is and this clever idea that he has to carry around a copy of himself.
Yeah, and then they all fall for it. And they all run up to this inflatable Pac-Man and they try and grab it and it bursts. And then that's just it. And nothing was accomplished.
No, Sue stands back disapprovingly and watches all of these ghosts chomp this thing that she clearly must have known was fake, but she's like, I don't know, I'm not their mother. They can chomp it all I care.
Yeah. Oh. Oh. And we're not even into the worst of it yet. Hold
We're
on.
not even like halfway through the episode.
Pac-Man gets into where they've got the president and he lets him out of the cage. And then he gives him a power pellet.
Yes.
And then he's like, oh no, that was my last power pellet. So now I
Yep,
can't
the
chomp the
ghosts
ghosts.
are right there.
But like,
We're not even quite sure why he gave the president a power
that's what
pellet.
I wrote. That's what I wrote. Why does he give the president his last power pellet? The president doesn't do anything with it. Like,
He just eats it.
he just eats it and he's like, thanks, I was hungry, I guess. It's like, couldn't the president eat the ghosts at that point? Why doesn't he? Is he just above that?
He wasn't elected for that.
If they wanted a ghost chomping president, they would have elected Pac-Man. So then Pinky apparently is inflatable.
And he's been on the roof this whole time, apparently.
Yeah, except was he? Was he?
No. He's just teleported up there as soon as it was convenient to the plot.
Yeah.
And Clyde is like, okay, Pinky, do the thing that apparently we had planned to do all along and inflate yourself to steal the Yellow House.
Yeah. So he inflates and then he recreates the ending of Kirby's Dream Land.
Dropping snacks all over Pac-Town.
And the White House flies into the air with a giant inflated Pinky on top. But he's even the same color as Kirby now that I think about it.
So what I didn't get is that they're threatening his life and the life of the president, but they need him alive to find out where the power forest is.
Yeah.
Like, they go back and forth on this quite a lot,
And
where they're trying to kill him, but they can't kill him.
And they can't possibly see the power forest from their elevated position.
Mezmaron cannot see the power forest from his 3 stories of height.
A Pac-Man, they take the Yellow House into the sky, and then Pac-Man immediately surrenders the forest, even though they seem to be safe. No, wait! He says he's gonna surrender it, and then they take him down. Without getting the information first. And then once they're safe, then he's like, I've got no choice, here's where it is.
So he tells them where the forest is, but we find out shortly that they have constructed an entire false forest
Yes.
for just such a circumstance.
Yes, I have written here, fake forest somehow.
And it's just trees covered in light bulbs.
Yeah. So Mezmaron himself comes out to take the Pac Forest, and somehow, I guess Pepper. Why was Pepper? It seems like Pepper was constructing the fake Pac Forest while all of the other stuff was going on, but why? Why?
It's the question of the day.
That's how I'd
My
subtitle this
why
show.
Is so, like, at Pepper's command, a bunch of Pac people show up out of nowhere and just start eating Mezmaron's clothes.
Yes, and here we are, right? This is what I said we will get to later. Do Pac people just eat clothes? Are they like moth larvae? if you put
Maybe that's why
down...
we don't see more Miss Pac-Man, because she pupated.
They eat clothes.
They eat clothes, and they didn't eat all of them. They just kind of gave him a moth-bitten look.
Yeah, they just chomp at the... I've got here, yeah. It says right here in my notes, looping pack people eat Mezmaron's clothes like moth larvae.
And then there's like a 4-minute chase sequence of
Yep.
the ghosts running and hiding,
Yep.
and them just getting hunted down like animals and eaten.
Yes, and my note for that is Pac-Man Vor's terrified ghosts. Which I feel is accurate.
It's quite accurate, yes.
This is also the point where I really took in the noise that it makes when Pac-Man's chomping. Because it's not... I feel like they could have easily just used the sound from the game.
You gotta pay top royalties for that.
Yeah, but no, instead, it makes this weird squishy noise, and I hate it. Like, it's not like, oh, whatever, and it's not the sound from the game. It's like...
There were a lot of questionable choices in sound design, but we'll get to Chomp Chomp in the next episode.
Also, my favorite line of the show. I think this is the only line I've actually written down as a full quote so that I wouldn't forget it.
I haven't had a good chomp since the elections.
Said by the president, of course.
Yes. So I also have some quotes written down.
Oh,
This
good.
is after the big chase scene has ensued, and Pac-Man and Pepper are walking off into the sunset, and Pac-Man asks Pepper what's for dinner, and she goes,
Power pellets, what else?
and exasperated Pac-Man goes,
Again?
I'm like, 5 seconds ago, all you people could think and talk about was power pellets, and now you're too good for them.
Why can't they just share some with Mezmaron if they've got so many that they're tired of them? Oh yeah, no, I've got a note about that here as well. I've written, Pac-Man tired of power pellets, apparently only food source.
And it is, because Pepper lists off like 18 food items, and it's all just normal food items, but
With
power
Pac.
pellet.
Oh my god, yeah, it's like power pellet burgers and stuff, isn't it? That's what they're
Yeah,
having in
they
the
make
next
those in
episode.
the next episode.
Okay, but before we get to the next episode, we have a tiny little segment called Pac-Mania. I have only made 2 notes about this.
Oh, me too.
Mine say, super instant cactus seeds?
With 4 question marks.
Oh, I only have 3, but you went one further. And my only other note just says, this is madness.
My other note says, why did he have to hide behind a tree to plant them? Because he goes off screen to put this thing into action.
Yes.
Then the ghosts turn around a tree and run into this cactus.
So for context, for anybody who hasn't watched it, I'd recommend watching it if you want to get the full, experience. But he's being chased by the ghosts, as is his every day. And he realizes he has some super instant cactus seeds in his pocket for some reason. So he hides behind a tree and he plants some super instant cactuses that immediately grow. And then the ghosts come around the tree and they all get stuck on the cactuses. All their clothes get stuck on the cactuses, I guess.
And that was the entire short.
Yeah, that was it. I guess it was just like an ad break bumper, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's over. Now we come to the actual second segment, which is Picnic in Pac-Land.
So by this point in the show, I was so exhausted. It was physically exhausting taking all notes, and I happened to notice that somebody put their name. They put their name on this show. It says written by Jeffrey Scott. I was like, why would you do that to yourself?
I didn't even notice that. I probably would have given the guy some credit if I... Jeffrey
Jeffrey
Scott.
Scott,
I'm sure
I'm
this was a
sorry.
paycheck.
It was a paycheck because this doesn't require much writing at all.
No. I think writing might be a bit of a strong word for. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Jeffrey Scott's really proud of his work on Pac-Man. I don't want to speak for him. Hey, Future Mike again here. I felt bad that I didn't do any research into who wrote any of this, so I looked up Jeffrey Scott. He seems to be the only credited writer on this show, and it seems like he developed the whole thing himself. He's done quite a lot of stuff. Looks like he also did the same thing for Muppet Babies, developing it and writing most of it. He wrote a bit for DuckTales, he wrote for Captain N, he wrote for Goof Troop, Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, Mega Man, Ninja Turtles. It looks like he's still writing stuff too. Although I haven't heard of any of the most recent shows. Alright, back to the episode.
This isn't what they're going to be teaching you in college for sure.
Yeah. So we get back to more capsule cars. Funny little, they look almost like gacha capsules
They do.
on wheels. They are barbecuing power pellets when they get to the park for their picnic. Just power pellets on the barbecue.
Oh yeah, because it isn't until later when the ghosts show up that they actually have like patties on the grill. But no, Miss Pac-Man's just stuck some normal ass power pellets on the grill.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we should talk. So this episode actually introduces us to the rest of Pac-Man's family. We have
Oh yes.
baby
Pac Baby.
Pac Baby. There we go. Thank you.
Because I have notes later just questioning that choice. Like when it becomes an adult, is it still Pac Baby? Or does the name evolve with it? Does it become Pac Adult?
Well,
and people just question it.
Pac Baby, I believe, is a real character in the games.
Oh, really?
I think so. I don't know when Pac Baby. Okay, here's my memory of it. This might be wrong, might have been retconned, it might have never been correct. My memory in the games is that Pac-Man's family consists of Mr. and Ms. Pac-Man, Junior Pac-Man, which is their son, and Pac Baby, which is their daughter.
Okay.
And then Chomp Chomp, who I believe... No, yes, I've got notes about this. Chomp Chomp actually first appeared in this show.
I'm not surprised. What about Sourpuss?
Sourpuss, as far as I can tell, well, I'll tell you when we get to it. I've got notes about it, but Sourpuss has appeared a small amount since this show. But
Okay.
yes, first appeared in the show.
First of all, I am blown away that this man brought his cat to a day in the park.
I know. Why would you? There's no way you're getting that cat back in the car.
Not only that, but they get to the park, the cat and the dog are already fighting, and Pac-Man goes,
Oh, I hope this isn't going to be another one of those picnics.
like, why would you do this then? This is your choice.
So Pac Baby is played by Russi Taylor.
Okay.
In one of her first roles. Now, Russi Taylor is a big name, a very big name, but she wasn't yet when she did this. She went on to be the official voice of Minnie Mouse
Oh,
for
okay.
about 3 decades, I think.
Wow.
And also Huey, Louie, and Dewey. She was their voices as well, beginning with DuckTales. She was also Martin Prince in The Simpsons and Sherry
Really?
and Terry.
I love that for her.
And the voice she's using for Pac Baby here is basically the exact voice she used later for Webby in DuckTales, except Pac Baby doesn't say any words.
No. Oh, Pac Baby does say a couple words.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't write down specifically what they were. They were not notable enough,
Oh,
but
okay. But there were words.
there were words.
Okay. Sourpuss, Pac-Man's cat. By the way, my favorite character design in the show.
I fucking love Sourpuss.
Me too. I want him. I'm sad that out of all of the Pac family here, Sourpuss is the one who goes on to appear the least in other things.
Well, he was just created to be a horrible little bastard.
Yeah,
They even named him Sourpuss.
he exists. I mean, his whole purpose in this episode is to repeatedly and constantly try to murder the dog.
For no reason.
For no
Chomp
reason.
Chomp is going about his business.
Yeah, Chomp Chomp isn't participating at all in this. But anyway, Sourpuss is played by Peter Cullen, known mainly as the voice of Optimus Prime.
Oh, what an incredible turn of events.
And this is Optimus Prime across like all media. The 80s Transformers cartoons. He played him in the Michael Bay Transformers movies.
I love that.
He is Optimus Prime and he is Sourpuss. He's also played Eeyore a few times.
Okay.
He was Monterey Jack in Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. And I've written the Predator here, but I wrote these notes a while ago. Was that the actual Predator? I'm gonna have to look this up.
Mr. the Predator?
I don't know if he was in the movie or in something else. Oh yeah, in the movie.
Wow.
He's the voice of the Predator. I guess he did the laugh, maybe, that the Predator plays. I know.
I'm going to admit, horrible. I've never seen the movie all the way through.
That's okay. It's pretty good. You should watch the first one at least. That's the only one I've seen. And then Chomp Chomp is Frank Welker. Now, Frank Welker is very important. I think he's the most prolific voice actor in Hollywood. Frank Welker.
Which is wild,
Yeah.
because I do not understand the choice he made with this particular character.
Okay, well, we'll get to that. Let me just list his pedigree, and then we can get into your notes
Sure.
on Chomp Chomp's voice. But Frank Welker, probably the longest single voice he's done is Fred from Scooby-Doo. He was the original Fred, and I think he is still Fred to this day. He also took over Scooby-Doo when the original Scooby-Doo voice stopped. He's got the largest filmography of anybody in this show. I'm not going to attempt to list all the voices he's done because we'll be here all day.
Mhm.
I will say that this I always think this is the most impressive showcase of what a good voice actor he is. He plays Nibbler in Futurama. and he is both of Nibbler's voices. He's the high-pitched squeaky voice, and he's the deep booming voice. It's all him.
That's some range.
He's also Slimer from the Ghostbusters cartoon.
Mm.
He's both Brain and Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget.
I thought you were going to say Brain and Pinky. I was like, wow.
He's Go-Go Dodo from Tiny Toons. He was Abu in Aladdin. Oh, apparently he's Totoro. I didn't know that.
Totoro?
Yeah.
I guess he does kind of make some groaning noises.
Oh, he's Megatron. That's right. I made this note deliberately. So Frank Welker was the voice of Megatron, and Peter Cullen is the voice of Optimus Prime. So Sourpuss and Chomp Chomp are Megatron and Optimus Prime.
It all checks out.
Anyway.
I mean, it does because their voices are backwards.
So what? Let's hear what you have to say about Chomp Chomp.
That was the most horrendous dog sound I have ever listened to in my life. Like, we know what dogs sound like. We can pretty accurately mimic a bark, but he chose to quack like a duck. So the entire time he's just like quacking, and it was one of the most distracting things about this show.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you had something to say because I didn't make any notes about Chomp Chomp's voice. In fact, okay, here's my these are the like two notes that I have here about Sourpuss and Chomp Chomp. Sourpuss wants Chomp Chomp dead and is not shy about it. And Chomp Chomp is invincible and ignores the laws of physics.
Chomp Chomp is very much a road runner, and Sourpuss is Wile E. Coyote.
Yes, but with no motivation.
None at all that we are given, except we are supposed to understand that cats and dogs are mortal enemies.
Yes. Yeah, because with Wile E. Coyote, we understand that he wants to eat the Roadrunner. He's hungry.
Yes. He's made that very abundant.
Yes. It's clear even in his character design where he's incredibly skinny and malnourished. Chomp Chomp looks extremely well fed, and cats don't eat dogs, to my knowledge. The ghosts are here also on a picnic. They're cooking.
Yeah, they're here by accident. Okay. I got notes about that.
Okay.
So, like, Clyde implied that they had spent all day chasing Pac-Man, and they're there resting at the park just to relax. I'm like, if you spend all day chasing Pac-Man, how do you not know that Pac-Man is 12 feet away from you? How did you wind up at the same park after chasing that man all morning?
Maybe the two episodes are supposed to take place on the same day.
But still, how much time has passed since they were allegedly chasing Pac-Man and now that they have no idea what he's been doing since then?
I don't know.
Isn't it their job?
Did they just lose him? And then Pac-Man was like, well, I guess I'll go on a picnic.
Maybe, because they are not acting as agents of Mezmaron. I have many notes in here wondering where Mezmaron is.
Yes.
Because they're acting
all this time
just out of malice.
All this time dedicated to setting up Mezmaron in episode 1, and then he's not even mentioned in episode 2.
No! The entire plot, the ghost plot in the second episode, is just that they're trying to ruin his picnic or something.
That's the whole thing. Yeah, I don't know. I have a note here that the ghosts have other food. So,
yeah, they have patties that are shaped like Pac-Man.
Yeah. So why do they need the power pellets? Also, they know what Pac-Man tastes like. They mention it.
What?
Yeah, they're like.
I guess they've gotten a chomp on him once or twice.
They must have, because they as they're cooking up the their barbecue food, I think one of them mentions that it doesn't taste as good as Pac-Man.
Gross.
So they must know what he tastes like. That's
a strange bit of world building I don't think we needed.
I do have another note here. I have another quote here. Because when Clyde's making a plan, he's like, "Now listen."
Oh my god, yes. He doesn't move. He doesn't get any closer to the ghost. He just puts his hand up like he's whispering and whispers into it.
Now listen.
and it shows us it. Like, he's standing there for a while doing that. But we don't get to hear what it is he's saying.
No. But it apparently wasn't anything, because his grand scheme is that all of the ghosts merge together
into a frisbee.
Because Pac-Man is playing with Chomp Chomp and he throws the frisbee over there. And so they turn into a frisbee so that Chomp Chomp will bring them back to Pac-Man. Why don't they just walk over there?
I can't actually remember what the outcome of that was, and I didn't make any notes about it, but...
Oh, I remember.
Oh, what happened?
So they turn into a frisbee, and Chomp Chomp picks them up, and he just buries them.
Oh, okay, that's right.
And that was the end of their grand scheme. And
But Sue doesn't get involved, does she? Sue...
No, it's just the four of them.
Whenever they merge, Sue is never part of it. I've noticed.
And for good reason, because it's stupid. And immediately after they get buried, Clyde goes,
Pac-Man is gonna pay for this.
Pay for what?
He didn't know. He doesn't even know you're there.
No.
I don't think. Actually, thinking about it, I think they spend the entire day trying to get the drop on him, and he never even knows they're in the park.
That's exactly what happens.
Yeah. Pac Baby is drinking pellets from a bottle.
Yep, I have that note as well.
I thought that was interesting.
Just put an entire solid orb into your baby's bottle.
Yep, that's how that works.
Do they not drink liquid?
Guess not. They just drink pellets as well.
But water does exist because they are later on a boat fishing.
Yep. Hungry Chomp Chomp, kind of a nightmare, it seems like.
Oh yeah, because he's eaten all of the power pellets.
He's eaten everything. And there's the part, I think it's like right before he burrows under the ground to get another power pellet. He gets this really evil look on his face, and it's terrifying.
Is that when he had like real people teeth? Because
Yes.
I made a note about that.
Yeah, he gets this like horrifying grin with a mouthful of teeth, and he gets like angry eyebrows at the same time. And I was just like, I don't want this dog. Having a dog in the Pac-Man world seems like a massive inconvenience.
Having anything in the Pac-Man world just seems counterintuitive.
So they go Pac Lake fishing. I think they must have called it that, otherwise I don't know why I would have written that.
It was shaped like a Pac-Man.
Oh, you're right, it's a big Pac-Man shaped lake.
You did miss one part during the Chomp Chomp stealing the burger part where the ghosts have upset a pack ant hill.
Oh, yes!
They're trying to lead the ants back to Pac-Man.
And they just lead them back to themselves somehow.
Yeah, and instead of like moving away from them, they just get chomped.
So even pack ants eat ghost clothes in this universe.
It is implied that everything in this universe is just chomping and hungry because there are pack worms that they use as bait.
Oh yeah.
That make the chomp chomp noise, but not the chomp chomp noise, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I just realized that we never talked about it, but what is it with this show and hats?
Like, the only note that I have about hats is that they are the same color as the ghost.
Yeah,
and I don't know what that implies.
Which is a bit weird. But every single character, the change that this show has made to the character designs is that they've added a hat to everybody. Like, Pac-Man doesn't usually wear a hat, but he's got a hat on in this show.
I don't know, I guess because it's the gentlemanly thing to do.
He's got, what is he? He's wearing like a fedora.
Something like that.
And each ghost has a different kind of hat on.
Mm-hmm. And at one point, the ghost that's cooking, whichever one that is, he has like a chef's hat on, but it's colored like a chef's hat and not like the hat that's part of him.
Oh. Yeah, I feel like... So Pac-Man's hat is red, like his shoes and his gloves.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all the ghosts are just wearing hats that match the color of the ghost, and you'd feel like they'd want to switch it up a bit.
It's apparently stuck to the uniform.
It's part of the... Yeah, okay, it's part of the ghost suit. I guess they do get it out of the closet with the suit, don't they? So...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, they go... They go pack fishing. Sourpuss tries repeatedly to drown Chomp Chomp.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun. That doesn't go on too long at all.
No, he like loosely loops the anchor around Chomp Chomp's tail, and it comes off and falls perfectly around him and drags him into the ocean or the lake, whatever.
Yeah. So for the most part, all of his attempts to drown the dog, I thought, I was just like, can we move on from this, please? But the one that did make me laugh is that there's one where he's coming up on the dog and just immediately gets eaten by a fish.
Oh yeah!
And it happens so quickly and so suddenly that I couldn't help laughing at it. It's literally like the shot starts, he walks up, a fish comes through and eats him, and then it transitions to a new shot.
The only reason that I was okay watching these escapades go on and on forever is because the B plot is essentially identical, where the ghosts are trying to they're like underneath the water and they're trying to creep up on Pac-Man by various methods. But there's a
Yes.
shark in the pond.
Yes, and I've got the note here that they get eaten by the shark 3 times.
Yes, they do. And they are bamboozled every single time.
Also, so the shark first appears because the ghosts are pretending to be a shark. And they're swimming up on the boat, and Pac-Man's like, I think he's like, there are 2 sharks coming, and the ghosts are like,
Yeah.
2 sharks? And then they see the other shark. But what stood out to me about that is that the ghosts can clearly hear him. They are far away from the boat, and they are underwater, but they hear him say there are 2 sharks.
Well, yeah, that's how water works in this universe.
It carries sound.
Not only that, but at one point when they draw the shark, they're completely submerged underwater, but there's still an animation like the fin is cresting the water.
Is there? I didn't notice that.
I was very confused. I was like, so is it above water? Are they completely below? Because it's all blue.
Yeah, and the shark, Pac-Man does call the shark Pac Jaws, which I was happy about because
Pac
I was
Jaws.
already calling it that in my notes before he said it.
I did make a note because I was very surprised that they didn't immediately call it a pack shark because like 5 seconds earlier they had referred to pants as pack pants. So to suddenly have something not preempted with pack, it really stood out to me.
So there's the part where Pac-Man's fishing and all the ghosts get on the hook,
Mm-hmm.
and then they get eaten by the shark again, of course.
Yes.
That part where all of the ghosts are on the fishing hook, that's the part where I started thinking, maybe there are too many ghosts. I don't know about you, but
I didn't even bother to learn their names because they were all just interchangeable.
it's I don't know, 5 ghosts. It's it depends on the story, I guess. But for this, we're trying to ruin Pac-Man's picnic story. There was really no need for more than 2.
I beg to differ because if they didn't have 4 ghosts, how are they going to turn into a kite for no reason?
Oh, you're right. And now we get to my next note, which says kite part. So Pac-Man's flying a kite with Pac Baby. So I don't know about you, but my favorite part probably of this whole episode is where it cuts to Pac-Man completely entangled in kite string.
Yes.
And he's holding Pac Baby up above his head, and he's got this big smile on his face, and he's looking down at the string and smiling at it. And then after like a solid 10 seconds of standing there like that, he seems to realize that he's tangled in the kite string, and he's like, "No, Pac Baby!"
So my favorite part actually happened moments before that with Sourpuss and Chomp Chomp.
Okay.
Where Sourpuss is trying to give Chomp Chomp this kite, and then he pulls out a fan so it will like blow him away. And I've already forgotten exactly what happens, but of course it backfires, and Sourpuss is careening through the sky, yowling. And I lost it.
I'm gonna have to watch it again because I don't remember that, but I will put in the clip of him yowling for you.
Okay. Because he's just like spinning in circles. There's this wide shot of him going over the horizon.
I'm gonna have to look again. At this point, I'm not even making any notes about Sourpuss and Chomp Chomp. I literally, like, the last note that I made about them was just Sourpuss trying to drown Chomp Chomp repeatedly. I haven't mentioned them in the notes again since then. The only other note that I've got about Sourpuss is Sourpuss suffers no real consequences for his full day of murder attempts.
No, they all just get in the car and go home.
Yeah. I guess nobody even knows that he spent all day trying to kill the dog. Nobody ever chastises him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was always done like in a tree or behind Pac-Man's back.
Yeah, we didn't talk about the tree part at all, actually. Where he,
We did, because it's just the same dumb shenanigans.
I mean, yeah, but what is it that happens? He cuts down the tree branch, and it doesn't fall.
Yeah, that's where I was thinking very like Roadrunner, because he cuts the tree branch that Chomp Chomp is on and it doesn't fall. So Chomp Chomp just walks back across and they both get down out the tree and Sourpuss is standing underneath it when the limb falls on his head.
That's right. Yeah. So, yeah. So anyway, Pac-Man's flying the kite, the ghosts transform into another kite, and they get Benjamin Franklin, according to my notes.
Yes, they get struck by lightning. It's a perfectly sunny day, but the lightning comes out just for them.
Yes, and did that... I don't know, I'm not even sure how that was connected to Pac-Man. If at all.
Well, they were flying the kite and it like landed up in the tree. So they replaced his kite with themselves so
Right.
that he would then reel them in and they could chomp his bones.
But then they just get struck by lightning.
Yes.
And then Pac-Man decides to go home.
Yes. And all the ghosts are watching Pac-Man drive away, and all of their arms are broken.
Yes,
They're
except
all in-
Sue. Except Sue. Sue has suffered no consequences for any of this.
Because she hasn't been merging into kites and frisbees.
No, but she did get eaten by the shark.
She did get eaten by the shark. But I think it's implied that the lightning is what broke their arms.
Yeah, that's how that works. I'm pretty sure.
And then all of the ghosts just walk into the horizon.
Yes.
And I made a note because the last line of the episode is,
Ouch! You stepped on my toe!
I was like, why would they put this in?
What
does this mean about anything?
He doesn't have any feet.
They don't have any feet? Nothing about feet is spoken of in that entire show. They're just walking in a straight line together, and that was how they chose to end the episode.
Wow. All right. Well, my last note is me complaining about how they ended it on a "you can say that again" joke. I hate those jokes where someone says "you can say that again," so they say it again.
Yeah, we sure messed up their picnic, didn't we?
You can say that again.
Yeah, we sure messed up their picnic, didn't we?
It's pretty cheap writing.
It's the worst. And that's how they chose to end the first episode of Pac-Man. Well, yeah, it's the first episode still. The second segment of the first episode. It feels like we've watched a millennium.
I feel like I've invested 3 years into a franchise.
Basically. This is I feel like I'm on we've just watched Pac-Man Infinity War and I'm dreading Pac-Man Endgame.
But if Endgame is that Halloween episode, I'm excited.
Oh my god, yeah. Well, we've got more Pac-Man to cover.
Lest we not forget.
So that's it. That's the end of the episode.
That's how we spent our time.
What are your thoughts?
It was extremely draining. I can't quite explain it. I've watched movies before that just kind of suck the life out of you, and they happen to do that in 22 minutes.
So here's my opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how much of it is just that I was baffled in the beginning and then the novelty wore off. But I enjoyed presidential pack napping.
I wouldn't say that I enjoyed it, but I would say that it was the better of the two.
I enjoyed it in the way that you enjoy, like, The Room, or you know,
that makes sense.
that kind of enjoyment. Once we got to Picnic in Pac-Land, I'm like, there's nothing there. There's nothing in that one. Nothing's happening.
Nothing happened. It was just the same thing happening over and over, but with a different flavor.
Yeah, it's one joke happening over and over with two sets of characters.
Yeah. We never heard about the Power Forest again.
No, I mean, I'm sure it comes up in other episodes.
I know, but not in that one. Mezmaron, Where's Mezmaron? What's he been doing this whole time?
Yeah. I
Just
am
watching the
sad.
spy satellite.
I am sad that Mezmaron isn't in segment 2 because that's what I want to see more of. I want to see more of Mezmaron. I want to know his deal.
I think he's my favorite character because he screams every time he's on screen.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Shut up! Go! Stop it, you blithering baboon!
So, the legacy of this show. The next 2 Pac-Man games that came out after this were Baby Pac-Man, which was a pinball table, starring Pac-Baby, and Super Pac-Man, who will be featured in season 2 of the Pac-Man show.
So is he a different character, or is this like a supersonic situation?
So here's the way I interpreted it. In the game, I believe Super Pac-Man is just Pac-Man.
Mm-hmm.
It's Super Pac-Man in the same way that the next game after Mario Brothers was Super Mario Brothers.
That's what I would guess, yes.
But on the arcade art, he's wearing a red cape. And so in the cartoon, they tied that in by making a separate character called Super Pac-Man.
Oh yes, the very original character who's Pac-Man with a red cape.
Yes.
Do not steal.
He is a separate person. Also, I think the game Junior Pac-Man came out around the same time as well. So they bring in a new character in season 2 called PJ. And, and he's Poochie, but unironically. I took a look.
Does he ever get to the fireworks factory?
Who knows? Who knows? But we will. We will come back and we'll have a look at that.
All right.
I looked into whether this game made any kind of mark on the games, and it more than I expected. So Chomp Chomp,
Dark Legacy.
Yeah. So Chomp Chomp gets adopted into the games.
Okay.
He first appears in Pac-Man and Chomp Chomp, which was a kind of hack version of... in Japan, it was called Pac and Pal. And it's about Pac-Man, and he's got a little ghost friend. For the European version, they edited the little ghost friend into Chomp Chomp. It was supposed to come out in the US, but never did for whatever reason. They only made...
We didn't want it.
They only made 300. And it was Europe only.
Yeah, I've never even heard of some of these titles. There's a whole world of Pac that I was unaware of.
Oh, same. It seems to be because a lot of it weren't made by Namco. I think Namco had a deal with, I think it was Midway or someone. Someone was publishing the Pac-Man games outside of Japan. And they basically kept making Pac-Man games without Namco, which led to a lawsuit.
Cool. Always love a lawsuit.
So yeah, it was Midway. Yes, they kept making Pac-Man games without Namco, and then eventually Namco got tired of it.
You're polluting the brand. You gotta stop.
Exactly. Yeah, we got Pac and Pal, Professor Pac-Man, Junior Pac-Man. But yeah, here we go, Pac-Land. This is the one that I wanted to talk about. Because I've heard of Pac-Land loads of times. The Smash Brothers Pac-Man stage is Pac-Land, based on the game Pac-Land.
Okay.
Pac-Land is fully based on the show. Like, all the characters are wearing their hats from the show. In the ending, like so in Pac-Land, you travel away to a forest, you meet a fairy, and then you come back home.
Is this like an RPG?
No,
this
it's a
side
platformer.
scroller?
It's a side-scrolling platformer. Predating Super Mario Brothers, apparently.
Wow.
But when you get back home, Pepper and Pac-Baby are waiting there for you. And in the US version, Chomp Chomp and Sourpuss are there as well. And they all look like they did in the show. But the craziest thing, and this is the thing I never knew because they didn't use it in Smash Brothers. The craziest thing is that it actually has the theme song from the show as the background music. And I think,
Oh, so that's where it came from.
yeah. And I think that's what, when you said before that you'd heard it in the games, I think that's probably what it was. You probably have heard the Pac-Land theme at some point.
Interesting. Oh boy, look at the honker on that guy.
Yeah. He's they added a feather to his cap for the Japanese version, but in the US version it's straight up the hat from the show.
Oh yeah, I know this song. It's haunted me ever since that show.
Yeah, and all the ghosts are wearing their hats from the show and driving around in cars like in the show.
Mm-hmm. That's fun.
So that surprised me.
It sounds like a hot, hot mess.
It sure is, like the show.
So would you watch all how many seasons of that show?
No. No, you couldn't pay me to watch every episode of Hanna-Barbera's Pac-Man.
It was a little painful.
But I'm glad it exists so that we had this experience together.
I did. I enjoyed it. For all of my whining, I had a good...
I would whine about Pac-Man again with you any day.
Well, that's a good thing because we got a whole show about it.
We're not going to cover every episode. No, I have saved 4 episodes that I deemed interesting looking for us to look at in future. We will not be looking at them for a while.
We need a break.
Yeah. Oh, and Chomp Chomp basically became a standard character in Pac-Man.
Okay.
You'll pretty much always see Chomp Chomp whenever you see his family now.
As long as they fix that sound that comes out of his mouth, I'm okay with it.
Oh yeah, they changed him a lot because whenever Chomp Chomp appears now, he's yellow as well. Because I don't understand the choice to make him that weird, like gray-green color.
I guess it's more like, I don't want to say a dog color, but like a cartoon dog color. For some reason, I feel like they liked gray dogs.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Sourpuss was not as lucky. Sourpuss is basically dead.
Oh, I loved Sourpuss.
Me too. It seems like, other than that appearance in Pac-Land, there was a cat in Pac-Man World that it seems like fans have decided is Sourpuss, but it doesn't look anything like Sourpuss, and I couldn't find any official text saying it was Sourpuss. It's just that the wiki calls it Sourpuss. From the only like official mention of it I could find just called it Pac Cat. So so I don't know. I guess believe it's Sourpuss if you want to, but I
want to believe.
All right. Well, yeah. It just looks like a cat though.
Not the same lovable asshole.
Yeah, Sourpuss looks cool.
Cool is a strong word.
Okay, well, Sourpuss looks interesting. Let me see if I can find a picture of it from Here it is. Oh my god, it's worse than I remembered.
Oh no.
I'm not going to be able to show this on the show because it's audio only, but just imagine an ugly cat.
Ew.
Yeah, that's not Sourpuss, is it?
No.
No, I don't want to believe that's...
no personality in that cat.
No. That looks like somebody took a cat from the PC game Cats with a Z and like inflated the body by 75%. The success of Pac-Man on ABC led to CBS commissioning Saturday Supercade, which was a whole host of shows, including Frogger, Donkey Kong, and Q*bert.
How are you going to make a whole show out of Frogger?
I looked into it. They made him a newspaper reporter.
Okay, I kind of love that. Like, those are the creative choices need to be making when
Yeah.
all you're dealing with is 8-bit frogs jumping between cars.
For real. Yeah, the Qbert show, Qbert is like a 50s teenager for some reason.
He's a greaser?
Yep. And Donkey Kong is just all about Mario and Pauline trying to hunt down Donkey Kong, who goes missing every week.
How is that the most boring one?
I know! Well, also, Mario, it's like not the Mario we know. He's not even New York Italian. He's just a guy. He's just like a teen.
Oh, like Chris Pratt.
Yeah. That's probably the blueprint. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us on this, everybody.
What's next on the agenda?
Oh, I'm not going to say. I want it to be a surprise.
Okay, fine.
Here's my thing, right? We're not going to say what the next episode is until I play the theme song on the next episode.
Okay.
I want to announce each show by playing its theme song first.
I gotcha.
We will be back.
I'm sorry.
We have no set schedule for this, but keep a weathered eye on the horizon.
A weary eye, more like.
And we'll do more. I'm going to set up a Patreon, which I probably should have already done, so I could give the link here in this recording.
If you want to give us money so that we can grace your ears with more of our nonsense.
Yeah, look for...
Sorry you made that choice.
Look for Super Breakfast Friends Club on Patreon.
.org.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.